Welcome. I'm Professor Eric Cornish. In this lesson, I'm going to share with you 10 steps for creating an infographic with Adobe Illustrator. Let's get started. The first step in any media project is file management. First, let's download the project files. You can find a link to download these images on the Adobe Express page under Step 1A. Just click the link, download the zipped folder, unzip the file, and you're ready to go. Step 1B, create a new project. When we launch Illustrator, we're going to select our print presets, then view all presets and select tabloid. We're going to change our measurement to inches and name our document. Then we'll press create. To ensure our workspace is consistent, we're going to go up to the window menu, go down to workspace and select Essentials Classic. Step 2, create the header and the footer. Let's select the rectangle tool. Then we're going to click once on our document to bring up the options box. The width will stay 11 and the height will be 3 inches. Press OK. Then we'll get the selection tool to move that box to the top for our header. We're going to fill that with black and then we're going to change the stroke to none. We're going to do the same thing for the footer. We're going to go back to our rectangle tool, click once on our screen. We're going to change the height to 1, press OK. Then use our selection tool to move that box all the way down to the bottom. Step 3A, place header and footer images. To place images in Illustrator, we're going to use File Place, then navigate to logo number 1. We're going to click and drag from the top left to the bottom right, then reposition it so that it's centered in the header area. Then we'll go back to File Place and get the second logo. And in the top left of our document, we'll click and drag and then reposition slightly. And then for the footer image, we're going to go back to File Place and we're going to use the top logo to determine the width of this logo. So we'll click and drag, let go, and then drag it all the way down to the footer and then reposition it so that it's centered in the middle of our page. Step 3, place the QR code. Similar to placing our header and footer graphics, we're going to go to File, Place, look for the QR code, press Place. In the bottom right corner, we'll click and drag to position our QR code. Then we'll select our Type tool, click once on our screen, and we'll set the point size of this text to about 24. Then we'll type in sources and use our selection tool to reposition that next to the QR code down here at the bottom. This is a good time to save our work. Let's go to File, Save. For this lesson, we're going to select Save on your computer. Name your file, choose a location on your computer, then click Save. Check all option boxes, then click OK. Step 4, create a line segment for the timeline. Select the line segment tool, then click once on your document to open up the line segment tool options. Type 9 in the length and 10 degrees in the angle, then click OK. Next, in the Properties panel, let's set the stroke amount to 10 points. Use the Selection tool to select the line segment and reposition it to the center of your page. Next, we're going to select the Curvature tool to add 2 anchor points in the middle of this line, and then click and drag up and click and drag down to make this curved line, which will serve as a base for our timeline. Step 5, placing images on the timeline. Just like before, we're going to go to File, Place. We're going to look for our fourth graphic, which is the timeline dot. We're going to select Place, and we'll click and drag diagonally from the top left to the bottom right. Once we let go, we're going to use Edit, Copy, Edit, Paste to duplicate that dot and reposition it on the timeline. Then we're going to repeat the copy and paste, edit, copy, edit, paste, and then we'll just do edit, paste and reposition these points on the timeline. Step 6, creating text along the timeline points. For this step, we're going to locate our folder that has our graphics in it, and we're going to look for the Microsoft Word document that has the text that we're going to put in our infographic. So for the timeline, we have 2015 that we're going to copy. I'm going to go back to Illustrator, get our Type tool, and click once on our screen, and we're going to paste, edit, paste that text. And then we're going to reformat the text using our character palette. We're going to give it a point size of 21. We're going to change it from bold to regular. We're going to center align it. We're going to use our selection tool to reposition it. And we're going to repeat this process for each one of those text items. So we're going to use our type tool, click below the dot, go back to our Microsoft Word document, highlight our text, copy it, go back to Illustrator, paste that information into Illustrator, and then reformat the text. Using our character palette, we will press enter to make these on 2 lines, use our selection tool to reposition it, go back over to our character palette, choose bold, make sure the point size is right, make sure the alignment is right, and then we need the rest of the text. So we have these 2 text objects formatted. So one of the things that we could do is get our type tool, click once and paste, and then we could highlight the text and use the eyedropper tool to paste the attributes from one text object to another, and it just reformats that text. So we're going to repeat this process by duplicating our text items. They're already formatted, so we'll duplicate them, we'll copy and paste, we'll reformat them, and it is done. Save your work. We put so much effort into this. Let's go to File, Save, make sure we don't lose anything. Step 7, creating the pie chart. For this step, we're going to look for our graph tool, and we're going to click and hold that tool and look for the pie graph. We're going to click once on our screen. We're going to type in 4 by 4 in the height and the width. And then when we get to our data section, we're going to type in 15 in our first cell, and then we're going to click on the cell next to it and type in 85. That's going to automatically create a pie chart for us. Then we're going to use our selection tool to kind of reposition this chart. And now we have to kind of format that chart in terms of the look and feel. So let's grab the group selection tool. This is going to allow us to grab parts and pieces of this group. So we're going to select a small portion, and we're going to set the fill to a purple color and the stroke to none. Then we're going to select the 85% portion, set that fill to red and the stroke to none. Then we're going to zoom in, deselect, and then select the small portion and drag away from the larger portion to create separation. Then we go to our text tool, and we're going to create our text on the side. So this is going to be the 85%. Click and highlight that, change the point size to 65. Then we're going to reposition it with our selection tool. Then we're going to get back on the type tool and create a text box, a container for our text. Then we have to reformat it, change the point size to 21, align it to the left, change it to regular style, go and highlight our text in our Microsoft Word document, copy it. So we're going to copy the text, then paste it back into Illustrator inside of our text box area. Then with our selection tool, we're going to reposition our text box and highlight the first line of high school seniors and resize that text and make it bold. And then we're done. Step 8, convert the pie chart into a 3D graphic. First, we're going to get our selection tool and select the pie chart. Then we're going to go up to Effects and 3D Materials, Extrude and Bevel. In the 3D Materials section, we're going to change the depth to about 7, and you can make it thicker or thinner if you'd like. And then we'll scroll down to Rotation, and here we are going to turn the axis in all 3 directions. So we'll have the X, the Y, and the Z direction. So the numbers that I've settled on for the top box is 23, middle box is 8, and the third box is 12. So let's close the 3D panel. Let's get our selection tool, and for this optional step, we're going to copy the 85% and paste it and then we're going to reposition it on the large portion of the chart, resize the numbers and fill it with white, and then we will duplicate that value as well and change that to 15, and we'll change the point size a little smaller for both. And this is just an optional step if you want to label your chart. Now let's save our work. Step 9, add more text to our infographic. We're going to select our type tool and we're going to type 8, and we'll change the font size to 295 points. Use our selection tool to reposition this 8. Next, we'll get our type tool and we will change the font size to 36 point, and we're going to type in out of, get another text block, type in number 10, change the point size to 90. So we'll type in 90, use our selection tool to reposition our text. Then we're going to change the color of the text of out of to red, get our type tool and create a container for more text. We're going to set the text box to regular at 21 points, and then we're going to copy the text from our Microsoft Word document and paste it into our text box in Adobe Illustrator. Next, we're going to get our selection tool, select our text box, and we're going to go into our paragraph palette from the top options area, and we're going to uncheck hyphenate to take the hyphens off of our text and reposition the text box. Let's save our work. Step 9B, creating the avatar graphic. First, let's get the rectangle tool. We're going to click once on our screen to pull up the options box, and we're going to type in 1x1 square, and we'll reposition that. Let's move it over here to off the page, and we're going to click on the default fill and stroke, and then we're going to get our rounded rectangle. Click once, type in 0.5 in the width and 1 in the height. We're going to select the default colors and reposition this on top of the square. Then get the ellipse tool, click once on our screen, get a 0.5 by 0.5 circle, reposition that. Let's zoom in here. And then we're going to select all of it, go to our shape builder tool. And with the shape builder tool, if we click and drag down, we're going to combine. But if we hold the Alt or Option key, we're going to eliminate. So click and drag to eliminate, and we're going to eliminate the outside edges. Then we get back to our selection tool, select our object, position it over here by the 8, and then let's fill it with red, set the stroke to none. And now we're going to duplicate this thing. So we're going to go up to Object, Transform, Move. In here, we're going to set the horizontal to 0.6, the vertical to 0, and then we're going to set the angle to 0 and select Copy. So this action can be done again by transform again. We can right click, transform again, or we can just press Command or Control D and create multiple copies. Next, use the group selection tool to select the last 2 icons and fill those with black. Perfect. Save your work. Step 10A, export for screens. So here we're going to go to File, Export, Export for Screens. And this is going to be our low resolution file. So we're going to select where we want to export it to on our computer. We're going to choose our file format, which is going to be PNG. And then we're going to select Export Artboard. Step 10B, save for high quality print. Let's go to File, Save As. We're going to save to our computer. Then we're going to name our file, and in the format, we're going to select Adobe PDF. Now be sure you're saving this in a good location, and then save it onto your computer. Once you get to the Save PDF options, you're going to optimize for fast web view and uncheck the last box. Then press Save PDF. And here's what our final PDF looks like. Congratulations on creating your infographic using Adobe Illustrator.